that the southern end of Everglades National Park offers many more locations, a dozen hiking trails, camping and picnic areas, several outstanding kayak trails, and a greater variety of habitats. But you have to keep an eye out for these massive reptiles. The wildlife seems used to humans and goes about its business just steps from visitors. Here, you may have to walk and bike around the alligators, who sometimes sun themselves with body parts extending onto the trail. In the first mile of the trail on a sunny winter day, you'll likely count dozens of alligators. The bike trail through Shark Valley was constructed in 1946. To build the trail, workers dug a trench alongside the road and used the dirt to slightly elevate the path. The trench filled with water and has become the perfect habitat for wildlife. In addition, this 15-mile bike trail is probably the best bike trail in South Florida. It's 20 feet wide and the only traffic is the park tram, which will pass you 3 or 4 times in an afternoon. Oh, and of course, some alligators. Lesser sirens. If you saw this in the water, you might think it's some sort of snake swimming towards you. But don't panic, it's an amphibian called a lesser siren. These slender beings have an elongated body ending in a tail. These amphibians have only one pair of forelimbs that are short in length and are composed of 4 digits. Their body is made up of a slimy exoskeleton and cartilaginous endoskeleton. Okay, they're just as scary as snakes, but still, the reason you don't see them so much is because the lesser siren is nocturnal, meaning it prefers the nighttime to keep busy. They spend most of their day hiding in the bottom of the water bodies in the mud and only come out during nighttime to feed. Native to the northern and Central American continent, the habitat of these amphibians can be found along coastal grooves, streams, ponds, ditches, and swamps. They're a totally aquatic organism, but they can survive drought seasons when their natural habitats get dried up and can live in the mud till it rains. They can survive in drought from several weeks to a year, but their longevity status is not known for now. This is mostly because of their unusual behavioral patterns. One may spot this amphibian wandering alone, but these salamanders usually live in large groups. Sinkholes. This is what happens when a cavity opens up in the ground, especially in limestone bedrock, caused by water erosion and providing a route for surface water to disappear. And where there's limestone bedrock anywhere in the world, sinkholes can happen. In Florida, the limestone bedrock is protected by a surface layer of sand and clay. Thus, when a sinkhole forms naturally over centuries, sand and clay fill the void, creating a muddy depression. These depressions tend to evolve into swamps. However, when left alone for long stretches of time, swamps created by sinkholes have deepened and broadened into Florida's signature caves, estuaries, and wetlands, well known in the Everglades, but also common throughout the rest of the state. And occasionally, dramatic stuff like this happens. Sinkholes are most common in what geologists call karst terrain. These are regions where these types of rock below the land's surface can naturally be dissolved by groundwater circulating through them. Florida, for instance, is an area largely underlain by limestone and is highly susceptible to sinkholes. Sinkholes are dangerous because the land usually stays intact for a period of time until the underground space just gets too big. If there's not enough support for the land, a sudden collapse can occur. Megalodon tooth. The megalodon, which went extinct millions of years ago, was the largest shark ever to prowl the oceans and one of the largest fish on record. The scientific name literally means giant tooth, and for good reason. Its massive teeth are almost 3 times larger than the teeth of a modern great white shark. So, what are they doing in swamps? Millions of years ago, when T-Rex and Triceratops were roaming the earth, most of this part of the USA was covered by ocean. Back then, sharks patrolling the waters were just like the modern ones, just very, very big, but still losing thousands of teeth in their lifetime. Here, the teeth were covered with sand and fossilized over millions of years. The megalodon shark's fossilized bones and teeth give scientists major clues about what the creatures were like and when they died off. And you can find these ancient teeth in many Florida swamps along with other fossils too. Now, fast forward to today, you have creeks, rivers, and breaking waves eroding all the ancient sediments and topsoil, exposing what was deposited on the ancient ocean floor and plains millions of years ago. So yeah, you can find giant sharks' teeth. While the popular 2018 movie, The Meg, pits modern humans against an enormous megalodon shark, The beast died out before humans even evolved, but their teeth remain. Gharials. Once a widespread predator, this strange, skinny-jawed reptile is now restricted to a handful of Nepalese and northern Indian rivers and swamps. The gharial is in the crocodile order that's some strange features compared to its relatives. Its jaws are very long and very slender and packed with teeth. Though the animal looks fierce, especially when its mouth is open, it's not dangerous to humans unless it's threatened. The name gharial was inspired by a type of pot. When a male of these species gets to be around 10 years old, a bulbous knot will start to emerge just behind his nose, called a ghara. It's descended from the Hindi word gara, which means pot, essentially. The animal is one of the largest crocodilians too. At around 11 to 14.5 feet long, females are much smaller than the males, which typically range from 16 to 19.5 feet. Some monstrous 21-foot male specimens have been documented. Such huge individuals can weigh a whopping 1,500 pounds, making them some of the heaviest reptiles on Earth. For millennia, they patrolled the rivers of Pakistan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Bhutan. But over the past century, they've gone extinct in all 4 countries. Swamp rats. With its maze of swamps, bayous, and marshes,